Yeah. Hi, everyone. I want to welcome you to Relational Real Talk. I am your host, Tanisha Bright. We want you to make sure you tune in to our class every Thursday night at our new time, 7:30 p.m. And feel free to share the link to family and friends so they can join as well. Tonight's topic is going to be about the Tigers and Bears. But before we get started, we want to start this off with a prayer so we can have open minds and hearts. So if everybody bow heads and close eyes. Heavenly Father, I just want to come to you saying thank you, Lord. Thank you for a day that wasn't promised to any one of us, Lord. Lord, I thank you for allowing us to make it to and from work safely, Lord. Lord, I ask that you bless each and every one that is on the line tonight and those who are going to be watching us on YouTube as well, Lord. Lord, I ask that you touch each and every one's heart, minds clearly, Lord, so they may see a vision for their lives, Lord. Lord, I ask this in your name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. For those who are just tuning in, I want to welcome you to Relational Real Talk. At this time, we're going to take a couple of minutes to recap on last Thursday conversation, which was about, are you living in the past or in the present? And the other topic was, in this life, I just lost blank. So where do we want to start at? I guess, Mr. John, I'm going to start with you because you didn't even get to go deep in depth with that topic of yours.
Well, I think it pretty well says that in this life, you're going to have loss. It's at different times. It could be just different things. Loss of a loved one, loss of a friend, loss of a dog, loss of a cat. I mean, things that may have been close to you. And sometimes, even losing a job, or you removed from one situation, and that tests you to go from one thing to something new. The whole idea is, life happens to us all, and I've said that over and over, whether it's repetitive or what, it's truth. It's truth. And, not to get away from what happened last Thursday, we kind of experienced that at the summit. And what I mean by that is this: that was a great time, but we saw examples of mother-daughter relationships, single relationship, and husband and wife relationship, dating relationships. And the thing, what I'm saying, in some aspects of that, you see yourself, because you may have went through all those situations. And so in that, I guess what I'm saying, I have lost blank, blank, blank. I will lose blank, blank, blank. And it happens to us all, and that's a part of this journey. But the one thing that we should never forget, and sometimes we have to remind ourselves, is this, Tanisha, is our Lord and Savior said, I will never leave you or forsake you. Mm-hmm. So if the Lord said, and it's the word of God, God cannot lie. So what is our part? Our part is to believe that beyond anything else, move in it, stay in it. It's kind of like being in the bosom of God. And that's a word we don't hear much anymore. But I'm just saying, that's your security amount. No matter what's going on out here in the elements, that is something we need to stand on. So that is kind of fill in the blank for anyone. So that was kind of that part. Yeah. So.
And it even made me think about the summit when I was talking about, are you living in the past or in the present? Because it just makes you just really think about, if you go back in that past where you'll be at. But if you're in that present moment and living in it, it's like you can go forward.
That's right.
What I'm trying to say. So if you're living in the past, it's like you're just going backwards, like you're reversing in a car. You know, you can't drive backwards down I-20. You're going to crash. But if you're going forward, you can exit off if something is out of line that you don't like, or you can keep going, fighting for it, going forward. So that's what I kind of took out of it.
Oh.
Miss Faith, you had anything to add with it?
No, I don't have anything to add to that, because guess what? I wasn't there. So I was in the conversation. So I'm gleaning from you guys. So I'm gonna close my mic and I'm gonna listen until I can jump in.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Miss Cheryl, I see you just joining in. We're just doing a recap from last Thursday. Did you have anything you want to share about that?
Hey, you wearing that pink hat? Hey, Jeff. Hey, Fred.
Hey.
Yeah, I was excited. That was the first time that I had been to a summit or a gathering like that, where we had open discussion about whatever was on our heart, and of course the subject that Marilyn thought of. And I took my notebook that I have right now on my lap, and it was very interesting. It was, I don't know, I haven't got the word to say how enjoyed being in the room with young people, to know what's on their heart, what's on their mind, their struggles. Gives me a reason to pray. It lets me know how to pray for them, and the same issues that they have, older people have. And the correlation is just, and it just let me know that there's a lot of teaching that needs to be done. And this is one way that we can share. And I appreciate the two of you being there. I probably wouldn't have gone if I didn't know somebody that was going to be there. And so I enjoyed meeting you. So beautiful lady, Miss Tanisha, just so pretty and just so
I enjoyed meeting you.
It's just so nice. And so, yeah, I would go to another summit. And so, yeah, I thought it was good. And I thought it was something that's needed in this community. Marilyn brought people that came up from Arlington. I met some couple of ladies that we exchanged numbers. And so it was a good gathering. And I appreciate y'all for bringing ladies together like that. And hopefully when the men get together, you guys can, the men can gather some tools that they can help other ladies in whatever areas of life that they're in, can share, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot more that could be said, answering some of the questions. And wow, it was a good seminar. It was a good conference, but a lot more could be said about some of those topics. Very good. And I'm sure a lot of them will be brought up at the women's conference coming up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But yeah, it was so good just seeing you, Miss Cheryl, and hearing you speak. And that notepad you had, I was like, Miss Cheryl was ready. She was ready for all the nuggets, and she gathered all the nuggets. I was like, I'm gonna have to step my game up.
8.5 by 11, honey. And I write in my notepad who said what, per Joe, per Marilyn, per Tanisha, because I want to know whose word was that. Because I go back and look at some of these notes, and it helps us. It helps me. And a lot of the nuggets that you guys provide, I give them back. I put them back out there to somebody else, because it's just not for me. Whatever y'all share is for others. Whatever God gives me is for others. That's right. If it's good.
Yes, ma'am. And you know what, Miss Cheryl, we finna start on some topics that we had got from the summit to keep them going because they was very interesting.
Yes.
And stuff. So tonight we're going to be talking about the tigers and bears.
Now, I didn't even hear anything about that over there, but tigers and bears, okay. Did we talk about tigers and bears? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then.
So I know a lot of people wonder, like, why is she trying to bring the Wizard of Oz talking about tigers and bears?
Okay.
Well, it's an unknown and feared predator which may or may not actually exist. And so what I want to kind of go into with the actually exist is like when we start doing dating, a lot of people get fed up like trying to find love and relationships in their hometowns because it's like you probably still get to just seeing the same people, just the same routine and want to try something different. So you try online dating. Yeah. And with that, you have to be careful at the same time because you can get those who set up the facade of a profile to say, hey, I got this going right here. I'm a CEO over this company. And then they working at Family Dollar or something.
Thank you.
Exactly. And kind of got you mixed up in the blend. So
is that called catfishing? Is that
yes, catfishing.
Okay, catfishing.
Catfishing the whole profile. And so we have to just watch those and don't jump in it fast and pay attention to the credentials that they write down on their pictures that they post, because they can tell a lot about a person as well. So you just have to be really careful because it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. And so I can open the floor up to whoever want to talk about online dating. Miss Faye.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a wonderful day. I know that we're getting ready to jump into our first topic, and that's going to be online dating. But before we do that, I think I just want to mention, since we were talking about the summit and some of us maybe didn't attend, so just to let everybody know, that it is going to be a part 2. And for those of you that are in the room right now, that information is in the chat, but it will be on July the 29th from 3 to 7:30 p.m. at the Courtyard by Marriott in Tyler, Texas. So that invitation is open to singles and to also couples. So more information will be coming forward as far as how to, register, get your tickets and all that. But I just wanted everyone to know that, that is coming forward, a part 2. So just hold your seats until we get to the part 2. So I'm definitely going to be in the room on that occasion. So online dating, let's jump into online dating. So just wanted to put my little 2 cents in there in the pot on online dating. I have dated online before. And when I mean dating, okay, so I think I need to clarify what that means to me. I say to me, online dating is a generic, a generic topic. Online dating doesn't necessarily mean that you're dating someone, okay, unless you all are agreeable and you're coming together to develop something. A lot of online dating is going out there and basically a man or, a woman, they look and they see or they read, profiles or what have you, and then a dialogue might start. But that doesn't necessarily mean you date. Okay, so I just want to clarify that part. To me, I say it to me because I You encounter a lot of people, a lot of, men, or if you're a man, woman. So everybody that you encounter, or I feel that even inquires about you, that doesn't mean you're going to always communicate with them. Okay. Because you have to be spirit led in that. You have to be careful, like Tanisha was saying, about who you engage. Everybody out there might have different, they might have a different vision as far as why they are out there. You find sometimes they might be married. You might have some imposters, out there. You might have a whole lot of different personalities and different people. So as far as what their game is, if you will, some of them are authentic, some might not be authentic, but that is for you to find out. That is for you to seek and ask God, is this a person that I should encounter? You have to, if you decide to have a conversation with that person, then you start gathering that data, from that person, right? You start asking questions. You start digging in. And then from those responses, then you start to gather, okay, is this a person that I would like to, get to know better or whatever, or maybe not. And then if it's not, then you cut that encounter, that communication off, right? But if you do find someone online, then it's a process, for you to engage and to have those dialogues and to talk, about their personality, about who they are, what they do, how they feel. Are they a believer? Do they go to church? It might be certain questions, and if you want to pursue that, I think you should start developing beforehand what questions, what information would you want to have in order to, determine if that man or if that woman is someone that you would want to even have a conversation with, either by email. Some people contact you by email if that's what you choose to communicate, or by texting, or, you got all the different ways of communication. But I think I really want to really emphasize that you have to be led by the Lord. You really do. Because as we know, everybody is not honest all the time. And you don't want to get caught up in a situation. A couple months back, we talked about situationships.
Yes.
Remember that? That was real good. And we do not want to get in a situation. We want to be in a relationship with two people, interacting, authentic, intentional, or have the same vision, the same goals. You're trying to, merge together, right? Into whatever it evolves to. But you have to be careful, and you have to know if you get these red flags, just imagine, hey, where's my flag back here? Just imagine this flag being red. This is a green one, as you can see. But if you get a red flag, it's time to cut it, nip it in the bud. And it's okay to say, hey, I really don't think that we're compatible.
Right.
It's okay. It's better to say you're not compatible than to get into it and then say you ain't the one, or we're not really relating, or we don't have the same goals, or we don't believe in the same God, right? Mm-hmm. So it's important that we that when we step into that, and I'm not saying it's a bad. I'm not saying that it is a bad situation to pursue, But then I think with anything that we pursue, we got to know what to do and how to do it. And we need to be careful out there and not give information like where you live, all your data, oh yeah, I work as a da 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 da. You don't need to tell them all the information, and jumping in, and don't be thirsty. Like, you really, I'm so happy you contacted me, and just spill out everything, let it evolve naturally, in that situation. So those are my thoughts on online dating. I don't know if anyone else has anything that they would like to contribute, but I'm not the guru or the expert on that, but those are some of my thoughts.
Come on, Miss Cheryl, I see your hand up.
Okay. All right. So I have had an experience with online dating. And I went on a free dating app, Plenty of Fish. And yeah. So, and what?
Plenty of fish.
What I saw was a lot of white men on there showing the fish that they caught and on their boats and their yachts. And I said, you know what? I don't mind dating a white man, but I'm not going on no water with a white person to end up in the water, even though I know how to swim. But I said, plus, I don't like fishing. I want to be on a boat. I love that. So I said, now what? So my girlfriend in California is the one that persuaded me to do this because she's had great success with online dating. As a matter of fact, the last man she dated, they got married. And this was like, I think I have to verify. I think she was married to him 7 or 8 years, and he died at her house. And so she, but she spent money. I didn't want to spend any money. Like she would spend like 35, 45 for a month to be on. So you get a different quality of men, I think, because this particular gentleman, well, he had a lot of material means and a beautiful home, but she would always meet him at this restaurant that we used to go to in the marina. And she'd meet them there in public. She would not bring them to her home. And so, yeah, but and so I decided to put in my niece in Rowlett zip code. And so, so I saw a few other African American men. And so one guy was in the Dallas area and his picture looked pretty nice. And he wanted to drive down to Tyler and meet me. So I let him. And I told him that we would meet at, I forgot the name of the restaurant here in Tyler out at Cumberland Shopping Mall. And so, he arrived before I did. And oh my God, when I approached the table and he got up, oh my God, he had catfished me. He did not look like, and I didn't know that word then. His belly extended to the table. He was shorter. He was older. He had posted a picture when he was a young guy, like in his, like early young guy. And and so, I have missing teeth, but he had a lot of missing teeth that was showing. And I was like, so I got mad at him. And I told him I was mad at him. And so I didn't diss him. He came down and in his Mercedes. And he had a beautiful home. He showed me pictures in Dallas. And so I said, I know you didn't do this. I know you didn't drive all the way. I don't know what I said to him, but I fussed at him like I had known him for a long time. I did. And so I said, and I'm going to have to tell you about yourself. And and he told me that his belly was big because he needed some type of surgery. And that made it worse. Being a nurse, I really got on him then. And so, so we went walking at Faulkner Park. that's where I went to go because I'd never been. And, you know, it has a police station out there at Faulkner Park. And so we walked and talked, and I learned a little bit more about him. Nice guy. But we were not a match. And, you know, but we left on a good note. I mean, yeah, I did fuss at him and tell him not to do that. You know, don't do that because that's not very nice. And you let people know who you are and you're a nice person. And a person may really genuinely want to meet up with you. And so anyway, so I haven't had success, and I decided I wasn't doing it anymore because that was it. First time, I said, this is not for me. And so anyway, my girlfriend, yeah, she's told me about several that she's dated and like I said, successful men and married one till he died. So, but online dating is not for me.
Okay.
And I was not led by the Lord.
Oh my gosh, Miss Shirley.
My girlfriend Georgetta.
So you weren't led by the Lord. Okay. Well, so it won't be a next time, Shirley.
Oh no, this was several years ago. No. I'm not into that.
Oh, okay.
No, no.
Miss Shirley.
Ma'am. I didn't know you on the line.
I had to jump on the line when I heard you talk about plenty of fish.
Have you heard of it? It's a free site, honey. I'm cheap. I wasn't spending my money on that. Plenty of fish. That's all I saw.
Lord.
Fish.
Plenty of fish.
And they had
I
yachts
think
and
that's-
boats.
Yachts and boats, honey. I wasn't getting on nobody's yacht.
Listen, I think that's a good direction to go with that when you're talking about when you talk about online dating, all these different names of the online dating services.
Yes.
What stood out to you? Like they got plenty of fish, where they got black people meat.
Yeah.
They got
Christian people meet.
Christian mingle. They got
people meet.
What's another one?
They got one is for the seniors.
Oh,
what's the name of the thing?
Shirley Tickle.
I can't think of it. But
I'm gonna take myself on mute.
They have match.com.
Oh yeah, match.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They got eHarmony.
Yeah.
They got all those sites out there. Long time ago, people would be scared to get on those things because you know, you got the tigers and bears out there.
They really exist.
Yep, they got some tigers and bears.
But you know, Shirley made a good point, Marilyn and Joe and Tanisha and everybody else in the room. You know, those pictures, some of them are not the current look. I mean, some of them, you know, they like 20, 25. They show the, I'm like, come on now. You know, be real. If you're going to be out there, you know, be who you are. You know, be confident in who you are. Show yourself, you know. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
The other thing is that I have learned through my experience with my girlfriend that if you really want to do that, spend money because that's where the quality men are. When you spend $30 and $40 and $50 a month. But I told you that I'm not spending that kind of money to meet somebody that I may not even like or not have a connection with. But she didn't mind that. And so she found somebody in that category.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But I just want to kind of reset the room because I see a lot of more people don't drop in. I want to welcome y'all to Relational Real Talk. Our conversation tonight is about those tigers and bears. And if you don't know the meaning, that is by a fear predator, which may or may not actually exist. And so like right now we're on the part of online dating. So if anybody else have anything they want to share about online dating, the floor is yours.
Miss Tanisha, I want to say something about that. you can meet some interesting people. I've met some great business owners out there. I met some great people in the church. I think it depends on what your purpose is for going on the sites. And like Miss Shirley said, I think the ones that are free, because they even have one on Facebook, I think all the freebies are probably they're kind of they're not as, I, I don't know if I want to say that or not, but they may not be as much quality because it's just like when people don't pay for stuff, they don't always appreciate it. They don't always have the real, real intentions for doing what they're doing. So a lot of times when you go, and you have to know what you're going for, because one of it, you can go out there to network, and I've met some great people, on the sites, but like Faith said, also, you have to really know what your intentions are, know what you want, because people are not always real. That's whether you're online or just meet people in the grocery store. You still have to do your homework with individuals and ask the right questions. It kind of goes back to, some of the things that we talked about, at the summit. People are struggling with relationships. Sometimes it's the way we get started with these relationships. We don't have enough information. We marry thinking that maybe people will change later on. And it's not that we don't see the warning signs of it, just like we see on the dating sites or whatever, and sometimes we'll bypass those things just depending on where we are, in our particular life. But I think it can be a great tool for people that are intentional with whatever they're doing. And I guess it could be a great tool for people that's just out there kind of scrolling around or whatever, but make sure you find what you're looking for. If you're not scrolling, don't stop with somebody that's scrolling. For instance, if you go on the site and someone says, like, I've noticed that some of them are a little bit more detailed, and they may say something like, just looking for a casual relationship. If you're not looking for a casual relationship, please bypass that. That's right. And even if you have, like different height requirements, whatever the case may be, pay attention to that stuff. Read their profiles, see what they're saying. I'm very big on spelling, punctuation, the way they talk. It tells a lot, about you may not think it does, but it really does. I listen. For me, there are men fussing on there. They're already coming out the back. If you looking for some money, I ain't the one, or they're coming out the back, you ain't trying to stop at those either, because they already have had some bad experiences. And, first thing they're going to do is come and, project that out on you. So you definitely don't want to, look for, be looking for that. There are some that you can almost tell that they catfishing out there or whatever, or especially when they put a younger picture of themselves on, because that's not the reality, that's not who you are right now, and I think another thing, when you're talking to them, as quick as you can, if you're going to use online dating, you need to be on video so you can talk to those people face to face, see who they are, see if they are who they say they are, and then listen to the conversation when you have them. I think one of the things that probably will stand out is just like regular dating. See how smooth your conversation can be. If it's just, hey, what you doing? Little things like that, it's probably going to be very shallow. But look for somebody that, y'all can talk for hours and hours and hours at a time. That means there's some compatibility that's there, but also in that, listen to see if y'all are talking about, the same thing. And then, let people back up what they're saying, because they can say anything, yet whatever they've practiced saying for a long time. And so, because sometimes people believe the stories that they tell, and but let them back those things up, so that you can know what you're getting into. So it's a lot of unfolding, whether you're online or regular dating or whatever, it's going to take some unfolding to it. So, but I don't think it's a bad option, especially, I know for me, one of the reasons that I chose online dating is because I don't get out like that. I'm normally on my job, or I'm in ministry or something like that. but I don't just get out and go mingling, you know, like people go to parties and, you know, different things. I don't do all of that. So that was my option for going on so that I could, meet people or whatever. And, but still with it, you have to be very selective with what you're doing.
And that is so true, Miss Merlin. That's even like with sharing like information on there. You know how if you have lost a loved one or something like your husband or your wife, a lot of people prey on that, you know, when they for that vulnerability. So it's like you have to wait in order to see if you want to share that with that person, because if they see it on your profile and they Jigaloo or Bobo, then that's what they're gonna be looking for at the end of the day. So I wanted to add that.
Tanisha, I'm glad you said that. Any of you ladies that may be out there looking at the online dating or whatever, pay attention. There's some stories that they tell that are not true. And one of them is that their wife died. They're really big on saying their wife passed away, and they always die of cancer.
So why is that, Merlin? Why you think that happened?
I think it's a sympathy card that they play, and a lot of them out there for money, Joe. Okay. They're out there wanting to, they want you to feel sorry for them, little things like that. Another thing, while I'm saying that, Joe, just, ladies, gentlemen, whatever, when you're on Facebook and say, for instance, you get a friend request from somebody just strange, very, very nice looking person. They always pick the best pictures on there, very nice looking. Always go back to their page to see how long they've been on their Facebook page. And if they just started that page a month ago, that's a fraud. That's catfishing.
Block.
Yeah, just block them right out, because they will have a full-fledged conversation with you and not be real.
And also, you're right, Marilyn, because they will come up there with that widower kind of situation on Facebook, and then maybe show a picture of a child with them, like a little girl, little boy, or whatever. Yeah. Like they're, this is my child or whatever. I take care of them. Like they really need a wife, or that type of thing.
Yeah. So it's not. It's not always
things out there.
Yeah, people are doing some real mean things, preying on people, and you really have to be mindful to stay, connected to God when you are, desiring a mate or whatever, because those words that you put out your mouth will literally go get something like, I'm sick and tired of being by myself, When am I going to meet somebody? All that. And then next thing you know, all kinds of imitators start coming in as well. So.
That's so true.
That is. I don't know if anybody else had anything else to say on that topic. I think not. Well, our next topic, y'all, it's about the man boys and the women girls. And those are the ones who say they grown, but they still in them childish ways. Go over, Mr. Joe. I know you got something to say. I see you pop on the deal.
I just got back on. I lost. Okay. We're getting on the part about man, boy, a woman, girl.
Woman, girl.
Well, the thing about if I speak from a perspective of a man, first of all, and I think maybe in times past we kind of talked a little bit about this, but a true man, first of all, doesn't have boyish ways. I mean, for instance, if a lady gets involved with a guy and she may like the guy or whatever, and she may have a son, and if the guy is truly a man, he's not gonna be there playing video games with the boy. And I think he would be more showing the boy what a true man looks like. And what I'm saying with that, they may play a game, but again, overall, if he's a man, he's going to really engage with the young man and show him as well as tell him. And when I say tell him, you may be saying some things, but also you backing them up and you pulling them into the manhood by your demonstration, how you walk. You say this, then you need to walk in that. And that a woman would know that he's not boyish like her son. And it's just the opposites too. A woman knows when that is a true man. But again, because they know what a man looks like. They know what a man do. They know the demeanor of a man. He has a mature air about him. And I think even better if he's spiritually grounded and you're spiritually grounded, there is some commonality there. And if if the young man, which is with you, then his interest in you is all going to be interested in your son. So if he's mature as a man and dealing with you, he's going to be mature as a man dealing with the son, because he understands first and foremost, you don't come by yourself. You come with another entity, and you want to be that man that stands in manhood, that demonstrates that walks in that shows that in front. You want to be impact. It's not important to be popular, but it is very important to be influential in that entity. And you will know. How will you know? You will know by the things that come out of him. You will know by how he treats people. You will know by just how he treats you, because he get that. And he understands, as a man of the house, I want to provide. I want to set the tone in there. I want to do things there to set this house up. This is our home. This is our place, our humble abode. And he gonna have that already within himself, or he can be working on that. You know, we all work in progress, and that's so true. But you will see those attributes. And when that happens, or if it's not happening, if he's not, I mean, is he acting more like you got two sons there? I mean, you got a man that acts like your kid, then you got a problem, because there is no maturity there. There's not going to be any growth. And it's be like you raising a son and a son. And that's not a good place to be. And I also say this, if you want a true man, then you got to be a true woman. You got to get rid of girlish things yourself. You can't ask for something that you're not willing to be yourself. And so that's kind of my thoughts on that.
And I can so much agree with you. And you can also tell a real man is how he treat his mother. Because if you got a man that sits there and cuss at his mama and treat his mama any kind of way, how you think he's going to treat you? Versus a woman doing her mother any kind of way or her father any kind of way, how is she going to treat you? It's like, I look at that when it comes to that, to where how you treat your parents, or how you set an example if you got kids, you know. So if you out here and you taking the pictures on the sink for the Facebook, and you got little girls, how are you setting an example for them, for their generation? You gonna say, hey, this is what we do? This is like, as a man, if you sitting there playing video games all day and ain't going to work, and while she working, you setting that same example for them as well. So that's my little take on it. I don't know if Miss Faith, Miss Marilyn, y'all have any comments?
I have something to say about that. As far as, I think, if you're developing a relationship with a man, you need to observe his behavior as far as how he conducts his life before you engaged in trying to merge your life in together. You know, you have to be in an observation mode as far as does he go to work? What are his patterns? You know, does he pay his bills? Is he responsible? Does he have a car? You know, all these things kind of make up what that man, you know, what he's doing. I mean, he might not have everything that you know, all the materialistic things, but I think, you know, as you observe and talk and you go through the relationship, you start to gather that information if he's responsible, you know, if he conducts himself in a way that's mature. And also, I mean, as far as either a man or woman, you need to learn about their experience. You know, what was their family like? How did they grow up? Because a lot of issues start from childhood. You know, what has, you know, evolved into who they are now as an adult, unresolved issues, those things, and even previous relationships or marriages. You know, if they've been married 10 times, but, you know, you know, a lot of people don't say that, but, you know, they could have been married, you know, multiple times. So what was the issue, you know? So that's what I want to add on.
So, Tanisha, I think I want to piggyback off of Faith. You know, when she's talking about, you know, asking those right questions or whatever. One of the things, we all play a part in whether things go right or whether things go wrong or not. You definitely want to look to see, do they take any responsibility for the relationship? And the way that I see life is, if that man is going to be the head of that home, a man that really understands honoring God's principles and honoring God's ways, he's going to take responsibility for what went wrong in that relationship.
That's right.
Because he's the head of that relationship. And if you find someone that is not taking responsibility for whatever may have gone wrong in it, that may not be a person that's responsible in life, because it's always going to be somebody else having to pick up, you know, to pick up the crumbs or pick up the clothes or pick up the whatever, not taking responsibility. So you want to really, you know, pay attention to that and, you know, listen to the dialogue, and then also listen for the, you know, women are nurturers, and you want to find out, you know, if there's a pain, if there is something missing, and maybe the guys can share some things as to what it is that they pay attention to, but if there is a pain in his heart somewhere, has he been healed? Has he gone to therapy? How many times have you gone to therapy? Why did you leave therapy? If you still got that big ache in your heart and you feel like you're ready to date right now, why do you feel like you're ready to date right now versus sticking into therapy? You know, because that's a big question that's there, because what you're getting ready to do is bleed on the woman. Mm-hmm. And I'm quite sure women do the same thing. So it's just a lot to, you know, pay attention to and to question and ask, you know, and do a lot of listening. You know, people will tell off on themselves if you listen long enough.
Yeah, that's right.
And, you know, I can't remember who said this at the summit, but they said, don't argue with God when he gives you that sign.
Yes.
I don't remember who said that. But on that one right there.
I think it was Harlan said that, I believe. I believe he did say that. And, you know, I think it was Harlan said that. And another point, Merlin, too, is if the guy is always blaming the other entity, and that can be done years ago. And if he's still in that mode of blaming and not taking ownership for anything, that is a true red flag there. Because again, you can't be participatory in the cause and not be part of the effect. It just don't happen. You have to take your part of that. And if a person is willing to take that part of that and say, you know, it happened, but I'm at a new place. I am moving forward. I take my part of that. I take it as a learning. And those things I think he brings forward to the table. And those are not things, and it going back to what you said, that to me, he's fixing. If he had a hole there, he's gone beyond that. I'm not talking about that anymore. I'm talking about futuristic things. I'm talking about things to move me on. And I'm in that mode. I'm not spewing stuff out of me that's poison, because yes, I got bitten, but I've gotten the poison out and start to live again. And I think that will be true if you flip it around. And it's so true what you said. You got to listen very carefully, because people will truly say things. And sometimes they'll say things without even the thought. They forgot what they said, or it was on them and they said it and they wanted to hide it, but it came out. So I think it goes back to paying attention and truly listening. Ask the question, but be quiet and listen to the answer, but listen to it without any interruption. And how it comes up and out of that person. Does it come up angrily? If it comes up anger, then you know you got some problem. He got some problems here. And if it's obvious to you, yeah. So I think, like you said, you got to listen and listen well. Yeah.
Ms. Tanisha, maybe we have some experiences of others out there that may want to kind of share, you know, about maybe what their take is in that dating field, because I think that's what we're dealing with now. Not just dating, just relationships, period.
Well,
Mr. Welton, I think I saw his mic open.
Yeah. Hey, how's everyone doing? Okay.
Good.
Good.
Good. You know, during the discovery stage, sometimes the questions me as a man ask, it's not necessarily because I could still be hurt or still need. Well, I mean, we all need work in certain areas when there's been some trauma. But sometimes you are trying to compare inside the same type of, you know, like if a certain situation had come up in your other relationship, you might want to indirectly bring that same thing to discuss, so that so you can kind of see the difference. Sometimes you have to be able to compare as well. It's not always, you know, black and white. Sometimes you have to ask certain questions, and you know that that person is a good match because of the way that they answer it. It wouldn't be the same way as the previous relationship. So it doesn't, you know, I don't always look at the fact that you bring up something from your past as something that's unresolved. You're just being very cautious that it's not coming up again, that it's not going to happen again. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
I agree.
Well, I guess I'm not trying to clarify anything, Wilton, but I think what you're saying is that you want to kind of probe to see if that person has some of the attributes that might be negative or of the past, or have that same, I guess you would say, that same aura about the situation, or the same thought process or whatever the situation is, in the comparison to maybe that person might think totally different in a more positive way.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'll give an example. Like, just say that someone that you were in a relationship with, a person was a user. They always expected you to, give, and they don't give at all. What happens sometimes you may just ask how, or you kind of check out and see if that other person is that way. Something will come up that you will see that, wow, that person didn't ask me for a thing, and they needed the money, and it makes you want to go out of your way to go on and do that because it's not the same thing. And so again, it's not because because you got burnt the last time or whatever, but you just kind of reassure yourself in certain things that it is not the same thing.
Okay. Okay. I understand that.
Yeah. This is Robin.
Hey,
Hey,
Robin.
Hey. I was just, Welton, I think that's a really good point because we have a right to protect ourselves, so that the same thing doesn't happen again. So say if you're in an abusive relationship and certain things would trigger the abuser, then you want to make sure and it's almost like sometimes you test people in relationships, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, but I think it's something that needs to be done, so that you ensure that you're not stepping into or starting a relationship with the same kind of person,
Right.
or with those same attributes, the negative traits. You want to make sure that that's not going to happen. Now, there's no 100% proof of anything, but as far as that goes, but you got to have some checks and balances in there somewhere. And like he was saying, it doesn't necessarily mean that there is unresolved trauma, unresolved, pain or anything like that. It's just like, because you can be totally healed, but you still have to, I believe, check who's coming into your life, who are you bringing into your space.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because sometimes we have because of the way that we attract certain type of people, and so, you want to make sure that you're not attracting that same type of person that you have in the past.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily even just that person is, is a bad person, or it's just something that may not be compatible with where you're going.
I understand. I understand exactly what Weldon is saying. A lot of times you are going to meet some of the same people. Sometimes, you run into the same experiences in life, but it doesn't mean that that person is going to be whoever that is. So a lot of times we do have to get in there. I hope that's what I'm hearing Weldon say. Sometimes we do have to get in there and, be a little patient. Not judge every book by its cover, but also at the same time, remember the lessons that you've learned, and be able to ask questions about whatever it may be, because they're like, say for instance, you've been dating for a little while, and maybe something did not pan out the way that you wanted it to, or whatever. You got the memories of whatever that situation is, and then you have not stopped to resolve that, and now you're taking that into the next thing. You're saying you're ready, but you're really just trying to fill in a spot, and so we go into a new relationship, and we haven't even figured out the last situation that was there, you know, and so it's not going to be really fair. Or you're going to need to really be open and talk to people about things, because I have noticed that one of the things that I'm recognizing with relationship is that people have been hurt so bad. They have been hurt that they don't know how to trust. Mm-hmm. You don't know how to trust, and you don't know when you run into something that's authentic, because we have kind of mingled around with counterfeits, or sometimes we ourselves can be counterfeiting because we have not cleaned up something from our own lives as well. But people really are hurting out there, and I think people really need to stop to be healed before they talk about getting into a relationship with someone else. So,
may I
that's
comment?
good. Yes,
yes, Miss Shirley.
Really?
Yes, thank you. Several things.
I'm sorry, Miss Shirley. I was trying to lower your hand and I actually accidentally muted. Miss Shirley, you'll have to unmute again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Am I okay? Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am. So then we were talking earlier, Faith commented about how you look at the man, and I'm going to get to what Welton spoke. It's all going to go hand in hand. Well, she said you have to look at how that person treats himself, and that is so relevant. What he thinks about his own health. Does he go for his regular checkups? Does he go for his regular dental appointments? Does he wear his pants too long that his heel walks on? Those things that matter, we have to take a look at that, because if he doesn't care about himself in those areas, he's not going to give much credence to you doing those things. That could be a source of a complaint or an argument. It's not necessary for you to go to the doctor. You just went to the doctor. Or, why are you going to spend your money to get your skirt taken in? Your skirt is just fine if he's not looking. So you do have to look at how he pays his bill. What does he think about certain subjects? If he's employed, hopefully he is. If you're still working, how does he relate to his coworkers? What does he think about certain situations that he run into? All of those things are important. And if he gets to write anything, yes, grammar, punctuation, all that's important. And also love language. When you're in a relationship and you're a giver and you have found yourself to be giving more than the lady gives, Welton, take a look at that. For me, I take a look at that. I'm not telling you what to do. Is that my love language? Okay. If that's my love language, because I'm a giver, how do I feel? I'm asking myself about giving, and I don't receive anything back. What does the word say about that? Is this woman begging me? Did she start off asking me for stuff in the beginning? Or is she really having a hard time? So that's doing that discovery. How is she managing her money? How is she managing her household, if she has any children or whatever? And just look at that whole situation. How do I end up giving all the time? Is she asking me? And maybe perhaps I can say, if I know this has been a question in the past, well, what do you think about sharing expensive during our courtship? Well, what do you mean sharing expensive? Like, until we really have a develop a relationship, what do you think about us going Dutch? What do you think about this and that and the other? What's your perspective on this issue? So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because sometimes men think when they start spending their money that the woman owes them something. So take that out of the equation, in the beginning. Take it out. I can meet you at the restaurant. We can share this expense. Okay, well, if you pay for the dinner, perhaps I'll put the tip down. What do you think about doing that, young lady? How would you feel inside? So I don't know. There's just a lot of things in the discovery, and a lot the way you put that, Welton, because there is a discovery phase when you first meet. And a lot of this discovery can be determined over the telephone before you even meet them the first time. And there's no love lost. You question all these things that you want to know. That's what I would do. That's what I do. I ask everything I want to know during the discovery before you start liking them, loving them. And so you get it all out. That's kind of how I handle a beginning. As I have gotten older, that's how I have started to handle. I don't go out to eat. I don't need to be wined and dined. I can take myself to eat, and I can buy myself some wine if that's what I want. So then, no, let's just get to know each other. Let's just talk on the phone. And what do you think about blah, blah, blah? That's how I do.
That's good, Miss Shirley. Those are good pointers there. You know, taking time. That's what I hear you say. Take time before you start talking about, you know, going on dates and different things like that.
Yeah. So what do you want out of this relationship? Are you looking for, or are you looking to, just like on the online dating, take some of those questions? Do you want to just go out and have a good time, or are you expecting a full-time relationship? You know, those are the things. And we can borrow questions from other avenues, from other areas that are good questions.
That's good.
That's like, for instance, one of my love languages, words of affirmation. I think a lot of men have that. And if you're dating someone or you're getting to know someone who is very negative, very bossy, like that, then you already know from the very beginning that that's not going to work, because not only is that person not speaking your love language, but it's actually the opposite. So the way I look at it is like, if you words of affirmation and 0, and you have the old-fashioned number line, and 0 means that person is not doing, they're not giving it, but they're not taking away from it. And if they give you words of affirmation or encouragement, or just have a nice personality, but if that person is bossy, mean, whatever, then not only does that not meet your criteria for your love language, it actually goes into the negative, where it actually causes more trauma. And that's one thing that one of the first things I do pick up is how that person's disposition. And because I know that after going through this so many times, and that I know exactly now what I need and what I want. And so that, that's a good feeling, knowing that you do know that, and that you're not going to get pulled in another direction just because of looks, or just because of something else that does not fulfill you in your relationship.
So in the discovery phase, Welton, I'm not even sure if I would share my love language. I wouldn't share anything that would put me in a vulnerable position until I find out if that person is mean-spirited, because they could come back and use affirmations negatively. If they know that you want that, they may not give it to you, or give it to you negatively. For me, until you get to know that person's character, what they believe, do they read? What do you read? Are they in the Word of God? What position do they put God in? Is God first in their lives? Do you really fear the Lord? So sometimes, for me, people in general don't get to know those things about me until I'm really comfortable. And even when I'm really comfortable, I have been more open with you guys than I have in my whole life. And I don't know if that's because of my age. I don't know why, but I have been more open with you guys in this relationship, real talk, than I have ever been. but you know, you just don't get to know that about me. So those kind of things I wouldn't share until you develop a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's me.
Miss Shirley, you know, I think some of that is definitely true. You have to be very mindful, and then we understand that at certain levels, you know, I think certain stages of our lives, you know, you're growing through a lot of things, you know, getting to know people. Me personally, I do ask those questions about their love language. I don't just necessarily ask it at the door, but I do want to know, I want to know if they know who they are. I want to know, do you know where your strongest attributes are? You know, I want to know, and what I'm trying to find out is, have you done a discovery of yourself to know what it is that you like and what you don't like? You know, because bad experiences that we have sometimes come from us not always speaking up about what it is that we want. And so I do believe somebody that intentionally come into your life, they are going to ask the right questions, you know, to let you know that they do care about you. They do care about what you've gone through, you know, and, you know, to even listen, you know, because that's one of the things. There was a little something, I hope I can play it tonight. This young lady, she was talking about, what do you bring to the table? What are you bringing to the table? And sometimes we don't always know what it is we need to bring to the table. I'm going to see if I can get it pulled up. If you want to continue to move on, Tanisha, you can, but I'm going to see if I can bring it up here and show it.
So,
No, I was just.
there you go, Mr. Wells.
Okay, I was just thinking that sometimes, ooh, I guess a turnoff for me sometimes is someone who starts rattling off their expectations. You know, I mean, I sense that they may be doing that because of, again, past hurts. So they just, you know, I have no time to play, this and that, you know, being very, very, and it's good to be specific about things that you're looking, you know, looking for. If you want a one night stand, you just go and click to the left or what, you know what I mean? This type of thing. So, you know, it's good that they are articulating or the things that they want, but also I look at the way that they present that as well. And and if they have that kind of no nonsense type of thing, I start to question, well, okay, this person must have gotten burnt before, or they may, you know, because they're throwing that out. I mean, like day one, you know, or whatever. So that's my comment.
Y'all just dropping all the good nuggets for me to just sit quiet in the back and take them in.
Miss Tanisha, I'm gonna show this video here.
Okay.
And it is entitled, "Do You Know What You?" I mean, it's just a lady that's talking about what do you bring to the table. So we can kind of circle with comments about this if you guys would like. I'm gonna see if I can get the volume up for one. Give me just a second, guys. There we go. A lot of women seem to think. Let me start it back over. All right.
Right. And that goes right along with the whole conversation of what do you bring to the table? And for some reason, a lot of women seem to think that when men say, what do you bring to the table? Which I've never actually had a man say that to me. But the whole meaning behind what do you bring to the table when it's presented to women has absolutely nothing to do with physical items. What is your character like? That's going to tell him more about you than anything. Do you know how to effectively communicate? Which would mean listen, comprehend, and appropriately respond. Do you have any money management skills? Do you have conflict resolution skills? Can he enjoy being in your presence? Are you fun to be around? Can he laugh with you? Are you an emotional safe space? Do you know how to be a support system? Do you know how to be a team player? Do you have staying power, or do you run as soon as things get hard? Do you know how to complement his weaknesses with your strengths? Do you bring balance? Can he be his true self with you, or does he have to hide parts of who he is because he knows that you wouldn't be able to accept it? What do you bring to the table is really asking, does your presence encourage him to be more or less of himself?
Yeah. What do y'all think about that?
Whoa.
Whoa. Can you share that? No.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
will.
look.
I'm gonna share that. Yeah. What do y'all think about it? Do we need to hear it again?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I would write these down.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean that's life. You know, sometimes we get caught up in just some of the superficial things of life. But what she was bringing to the table is everything that evolves around two people coming together and doing life with, you know, and other family members, if it's a blended family or whatever. It's all those things that compose a relationship, and how you relate to each other, and how, you know, the person feels comfortable, or can you be your real self? You know, all those things are so important, you know, what she was speaking. It's really good.
And it's more on building that solid foundation, you know, because if it's on a unlevel ground to where y'all not seeing the same thing, then it's either going to shift or it's going to collapse in. So that's why, yeah, I'm ready to listen to it again. It was good.
Yeah. Let me play it one more time, because I think it kind of caught everybody off guard for a minute there. So let me get it back on here. Let's see.
When men say, what the long haul, right? And that goes right along with the whole conversation of what do you bring to the table? And for some reason, a lot of women seem to think that when men say, what do you bring to the table? Which I've never actually had a man say that to me. But the whole meaning behind what do you bring to the table when it's presented to women has absolutely nothing to do with physical items. What is your character like? That's going to tell him more about you than anything. Do you know how to effectively communicate? Which would mean listen, comprehend, and appropriately respond. Do you have any money management skills? Do you have conflict resolution skills? Can he enjoy being in your presence? Are you fun to be around? Can he laugh with you? Are you an emotional safe space? Do you know how to be a support system? Do you know how to be a team player? Do you have staying power, or do you run as soon as things get hard? Do you know how to complement his weaknesses with your strengths? Do you bring balance? Can he be his true self with you, or does he have to hide parts of who he is because he knows that you wouldn't be able to accept it? What do you bring to the table is really asking, does your presence encourage him to be more or less of himself?
Wow. Pretty deep.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted you to say, can you put that on slow motion? Because I write stuff down. I was
jotting it down over here. She said your character.
Yeah.
She talked about communication. She said money management.
Got that one.
Conflict resolution. Can you make him laugh? Are you fun to be around? Are you an emotional safe space? Are you a team player? She said, I think I've kind of started scribbling.
Did you say can the person make you laugh? Can they be themselves, or do they hide?
Or do they hide?
And then do they run when the situations get worse?
Yes.
Wrong. Do they run? Yes.
Or do they run?
Right, Sheena. You got it.
Are you a safe space?
Yes.
Can they share their weaknesses with you? Do you bring balance to the table?
Balance.
What was that next one? Can they be true? Be something? Yeah.
Can they be their true?
Can they be their true self? Yeah. Wow. Anybody have any comments on any of those?
And does that person make them be more or less of themselves?
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Another way of saying that, I believe, is are you on pins and needles with that person, watching everything you say and not to ignite anything? That is definitely a bad sign.
Yeah, that's good. And and then also I hear guys saying things like they're tired of changing. They're tired of changing for women, because especially if they are there was a conversation about takers and givers, and the givers always attract takers, and the takers always attract givers. And there are some men saying that they're tired of the change. They're tired of not being able to be themselves, always trying to adapt to what the other person wants. Women feel the same way, but I've never heard a man say that before. So I do believe that we need to, these may be some things that we'll bring to the summit, asking these questions here. How do you create a safe space? And then I think we need to have it to where the men talk and share, what do you mean? What is a safe space to you? And because the Bible says with all you're getting, make sure you get a good understanding, because sometimes we may say that we are doing these things, but if they're crying out for that, that's a sure sign that it may not be heard through the language that they need. So when we come together, if you're going to blend together with people, there has to be understanding with things, Yeah. What's your character like?
Right. Especially your true self. Because, depending on the relationship, or it could be dependent on how you observe, like maybe your parents or other relationships, how you kind of formed your world and how a woman and a man should interact. I know sometimes, in my marriage, sometimes I wasn't true all the time. If I felt intimidated, or if I felt that what I might say might be aggravating, or I might not want to communicate my true feelings, and I kind of, withdraw, and not say. But after a while, when a person is not really heard, and all that stays inside of them for a long time, then it's like a volcano. So when when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and that thing comes up, then the other person's like, ooh, when did that person come out? No, that person was there, but you weren't allowing me to communicate or allow me to be free enough to say without having any type of backlash or any type of control or whatever the dynamic is going on. But being your true self is so important, because if you can't be your true self, then are you in a true relationship?
That's true. Yeah.
That's right.
I'm a firm believer that relationships need to really, really grow organically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just like if you were kids, I mean, when we were kids, we didn't put a whole lot of pressures on things, you know, boy meet girl, girl meet boy. We go to the skating rink, whatever we got, just just innocent things like that. But now we got so many other things on our plates,
Right.
and I really believe it needs to just go back to a pure innocence, to where, you stay up all night long talking about that kind of stuff. Like Miss Shirley said, we getting all the information we need to get, and asking the right questions, and you're acting like friends more then, because back then I don't think you were so interested in being boyfriend, girlfriend. You were interested in being their friend.
Yeah.
Right.
And
then it evolved.
And then it evolved. And I think that's how the young men fell in love with the girls, was they found someone that could be their best friend. They could tell their secrets to, and you really covered and cherished each other. I think it really needs to go back to that. But I think it starts with a round table discussion, that we all been scarred, we all got a lot of baggage, and what do we need to go back to the basics of these things? What do you as men need at this particular time? And women, what do y'all need? I don't think it's just a one-sided thing. I think we both need to ask the questions, just like what Faith said. She doesn't want to feel like she has to, be dummied down.
Right.
Can't say what she really feels without, fear of retaliation, or they gonna stonewall them, or, start threatening to leave, different things like that. So a lot of times people will, it's not worth saying all that. And then little by little, you start diminishing away. You start just disappearing or evaporating even from the relationship. And then nobody even notice it, because we didn't develop a friendship. You don't care about me because I'm not your friend.
That's right. And true friends will push you to your greatness.
They sure will.
They will push you, and then inadvertently it runs both ways. And that's that you gradually get into that, because first of all, you want the best for them. And that's a different kind of way of thinking. But you build that. And I think that could work on both sides, whether it's a male or female. And I think in some form or fashion, I think we all want that.
I do too, Joe.
I just think that's when you think about it, is that really big?
I don't think it is.
I just think sometimes we've got so much stuff outside of us, of what the world calls, kind of establishes its own thing of what a relationship look like and all, and we forgot the real simple things that are not so simple. Like you were saying, Marilyn, getting back is just some basic things. It don't have to be big. Actually, small things are big and big things are small. It's just, I think, getting back to that, the grounding. I don't know if that's the right word, or grounding or whatever. Yeah.
Being solid with things.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, and this is just a thought that came in my mind too, I think that sometimes we say, I think, Marilyn, you've said this before, oh, you just like grandma, or you just like Aunt Sally, you like Uncle Joe, Uncle Bill, whatever, right? And you see our elders in our family, how they interacted. We have observed over the years how our families come together, these different, characters in our family, and then, you know, we have to, sometimes we embrace those behaviors and those attributes or characteristics or whatever. And then you have to say, wait a minute, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I becoming like, you have to evaluate that stuff. Because I was raised around some strong women. Okay.
Yeah.
Strong women. And my cousin and I, we look at that, we're like, we don't want to be like that. I mean,
that's right.
It comes to a point where you can, okay, it's good to be assertive, but you don't want to be aggressive, you know.
That's right.
And then you want to be able to, for that person who's in your life to be able to impart and give into you. But if you got your opinion is so strong, you would never get, you know, they'll never get their side heard or any type of input or anything.
Right.
That's right.
So you kind of have to, you know, look at yourself and who you want to become, like becoming you.
Yeah.
Who are you? And are you really somebody else? And you just absorb these traits based on who you've been around and sheltered all your life.
And you know, Faith, the great thing about that is the right person can bring the right you out.
Right. That's the key right there. That's
when authentic meets authentic, you can bring the best out of one another. And I think that's what everybody's trying to get to that good space. You know, they're trying to, I was listening to, you know, at the relationship summit, you know, with Mr. Harlan, and when he's talking about his wife, Pansy, a lot, you know, he talks more about the relationship. He's talked more about the relationship this week as we've been in our Breakfast of Champions room. And it's not all, it didn't start off like a perfect union. It took a minute for him to find her. He went through some things before he got there. You know, he told us the other day, he said, you didn't want to date me a long time. You wouldn't have wanted to run into me a long time ago, you know, but it took, you know, God putting his hands on him, back on him again, to bring him back into that space again. And it takes a minute. I think that's why he pushes so hard for people to stay in your right place, because you can miss out on a whole lot being in the wrong place. That's you know. And so when you do find that someone, you want to cherish it, because we really don't know the story of how long it took for him to meet her. But he said that when he saw her, he did tell the story. When he saw her, he said he knew she was the one that was going to be his wife. He said he hadn't even met her yet. He said it was 6 months later, he ran into her at the, what was it, Tanisha, at the softball, at a baseball game, at a basketball game. And he said that was the first time that he talked to her, and he said they've been together ever since then. So it's a journey to getting there, but once you get there, you don't want to lose that spot at all. You know.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
true.
Yeah. And that's so true. That's even like before you even want to get into a relationship, whatever hurt you have went through or going through, get through that first. I can honestly say that I remember I used to tell everybody, because I didn't want to talk about it. I'm like, I'm damaged goods. I'm damaged goods. And they was like, what are you talking about? And I say, you know how that one can will fall off the shelf at the grocery store and they get that dent, and they put it in that grocery buggy and they mark it down. And I used to look at myself as that way, until like now I don't came out of that, because I'm getting through what I was holding on to. And I'm not trying to be at that point to where I run everybody off. So it's working on yourself first before you try to get indulged into dating or any kind of relationship. So I did want to share that.
Yeah.
Mr. Welton, you had something to say? I see your mic open.
Oh no, I thought that was good what you said there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I kind of chuckled when you said the damaged goods and you used the can example. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny, but I didn't see anybody else laughing, so I decided not to say nothing.
But it's honestly true. That's how I looked at it for a long time. And what I would tell people that they'd be like, huh? Like, wow, but they would just deter them off. But I had to really like sit deep in depth and like think about it. Like, Tisha, do you really look at yourself like that? It's like downgrading myself to that level. And it honestly took for me to actually come along in this group back in October to honestly get out of that, to where now working on growing on me before working on trying to have any kind of dating or any kind of relationship or building anything. So building myself up before anything.
Yeah. I think you have to look at it as a mistake, not a life sentence. You made a mistake, and we all do, and recover.
That's good, Joe. Not a life sentence.
No, it's not a life sentence.
Not a life.
And two, one of the other good things, if I may say, and it can happen to all, the dark spaces that you had, Tanisha, when you allow light in there, it's not dark anymore. And we have to be careful about the conversation we have about ourselves. And I think you posed that. And then you thought about it. You just say, I am speaking this to myself. So if I'm speaking it long enough, the words that I say, I become that. So I have to change my wording about oneself.
Yes.
For positive things. I'm not the tail, I'm the head.
Yeah. You should have whatever you say.
Right. But words, that's why we know they're very powerful, because they're a universe within itself. And, it's positive talk to oneself, and that's important. Yes. Anyway, that's kind of my thought on that.
Yeah, you do. And it's a way, the tools that we get here in the room are very important. If we pick up the tools and put it in the chest to be able to use them, put them back, use them, put them back. But today, I mean, the words that we say, I was one young lady, she's the same age as my daughter. She was giving me some training today at work. And I already see the greatness in her. I see her totally at a different level. I see her growing, maturing, and also elevating in her career field. But she told me, she said, when I changed jobs and became a part of this team, I started to feel like I was evolving into something, but she said, I wasn't sure. She said, I wasn't sure if I was going to do it. I'm not really sure if I have what it takes, to become a lead or to become a manager. And I told her, I said, you need to change that and say, I will be.
That's
I
right.
am growing. You have to change your what you speak to yourself. I said, because if you think in the negative or speak the negative, you're really speaking that, but it's really bouncing back. Your words bouncing back in your face.
Yeah.
And I said, you need to see yourself differently.
Yes. Yeah.
And like, why are you here if you're not going to achieve, right? If you're going to be the mundane and not grow, why are you even here? Why are you wasting your time?
Right.
It's just like, look, yeah, I said, okay, that's my assignment right there. I saw it. I said, that's my assignment. So, but our young people hear so much negative,
that's right,
negativity out, and they hear about what they're not, or what they can't do. And sometimes we hear those subliminal messages. We hear it. And by the time you know it, you're saying what the world is saying.
Yes.
And we have to really pinch ourselves and say, wait a minute. You know, God created us in his image and his likeness.
Yeah.
And if we're joint heirs with Jesus, right, we're already an heir. And we didn't do nothing. I mean, he did it all. So we have to really, you know, change our mindset. So, yeah.
Oh, y'all just giving me all the good nuggets tonight again. I'm loving it. I know Miss Cheryl said we are all damaged goods due to the original sin of Adam and Eve. However, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. We are, and guess what? We have an opportunity. If we're all damaged goods, we have an opportunity to take that can that Tanisha was saying that fell on the ground and has a dent. We have an opportunity to make it all brand new.
Yes.
Because we're new creations.
That's right.
Yes.
Every day. We're a new creation. Every day. We have an opportunity every day to make a difference and to change and become who God has created us to be.
That's right.
So we got to believe it.
Yes. Yes. So true.
And that's faith. No. just like this internet that we can't see, right? Faith is the same thing. We can't see faith, but we sure need it. And we sure need the internet even to stay on tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I just want to open up. Is anybody else that wanted to share? I know we went over, but it has been a good topic tonight.
It sure has.
It really has.
Anything last?
Okay. Well, y'all, I have enjoyed each and every one of y'all tonight. All the nuggets dropped, the wisdom, the knowledge, and all. I want to thank you for tuning in. Join us again next week, June the 22nd, where we're going to have Tigers and Bears Part 2, y'all. And we going deeper on in it, y'all. So you don't want to miss out on that. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channels to receive notifications when replays have been updated. So you may go back to listen to the replays, and be sure to post your comments. If you would like to be a guest or know of someone that would like to be a guest on our show, email us at marylanddeniseservices@gmail.com, and someone will reach out to you on how to get connected. You can also email us at marylanddeniseservices@gmail.com or reach out to our host if you have any ideas or suggestions that you would like to share that will help to engage the room. I am Tanisha Bright, and we will see you all next Thursday. Love each and every one of y'all. Everyone have a blessed night. And we coming in again with these Tigers and Bears Part 2.
Thank you, guys.
All right, have a
good rest of the week. And happy Juneteenth, everyone.
Same to you.
Juneteenth is coming on.